You dropped in this morning at 10. You're a happy guy.
I am, Renee.
It's better today, isn't it?
No. I just want to talk about the same thing I talked about yesterday. I want to talk about Downey's opening act in Atlantic City.
No, we're not going to talk about Morton Downey's opening act.
No, I'm having a good time. I'm right back in the groove again.
You're
it's nice to be back.
Kind of happy this morning.
After midday and comedy tonight, it's nice to be back. And I like working with you. And I don't mean that like show business chat. I really do. I mean sincerely. I really enjoy working with you.
You're so full of it.
No, I mean,
really? I don't know your sincere level here.
What are these things here for? Is this a prop?
No, we have this.
Do you ever eat all of these in 15 minutes?
No, the crew does. As soon as they clear this in the first segment, Linda, our stage manager, has one. Johnny, Bill, they all come in.
As long as they're used.
Oh no, they are used.
That's important.
That's right. Ooh, did you read in the paper? Have you been keeping up on the story?
Anytime
Very interesting.
Ooh, it's juicy
stuff. Well, you know, I get excited. I always go ooh. Okay, you ought to hear me at home. I am always oohing. Anyway, that's another story.
Ooh.
Yes. I'm trying to find it. The story of the couple who, what they did, they wanted to have children, and they were having problems with. Flo knows. Okay, fine.
This is a new divorce issue.
That's right.
It's the issue
they had problems with fertility. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I interrupt you?
No.
Richard never lets me interrupt him.
Go ahead, interrupt me. Beat me.
They're having trouble. They had trouble with fertility, so they had embryos made. You know, like with sperm and an egg, and then there they were.
So there's
There's 7 of them, right? And they froze them. Well, guess what? Now the couple decides to get a divorce. She wants to keep the embryos.
Have it implanted in her.
Maybe.
And have the baby.
Yeah, well,
that's what she wants.
One story, you know what? I read that she said, well, maybe I'll give it to a friend. No, you know, they're my eggs. I can give it to the neighbors.
What's this in my Christmas stocking?
Just what I always wanted.
That's what I always wanted. What do I do with it?
All right, now we're making light of this. Well, okay.
No, but
but the husband says, I don't want you to have them. They'd be my children. You're running. I should have some say.
The husband says, a very important point for men,
yes.
I want to control my reproductive destiny.
That's right.
The wife, he's separated from her, says, I'm sorry, that's a frozen embryo, it's in liquid nitrogen, it's mine. So the question, the divorce question, is a major question.
But the husband wants to destroy the embryos, doesn't he? He doesn't want to keep them.
He doesn't want
any
decision made until the court determines what's going to happen to the
embryos.
He's not saying pull the plug. These embryos, by the way, are in liquid nitrogen.
Right. I mean,
which is where embryos live.
There's 7 or 8 cells. Now in Missouri, that would be a human being, but this isn't. This is Tennessee. So go ahead with.
Well, the question is it a preborn human? The soapbox question is, who should have legal custody of the frozen embryo, as we have just discussed it? At one point when they were happily married, they created it. Her egg, he fertilized it, went into a laboratory. Then they get divorced, or they want to get divorced. What happens? Give us a call, 1-800-962-TALK. That's our soapbox question
Now,
today.
I have it figured out. If I was the judge, this is what I do. See what you think about this. Whoever had problems with fertility, if it was her, then I would say, okay, let her have them. But if she didn't have trouble, she can go off and get more, some other guy's sperm and have, but if it was him having problems, do you see what I'm saying?
I'm having problems.
She could have those.
All the other guys' sperm. Look.
It would depend on whose problem it was.
Here's what I think.
Okay.
I think 2 people make to have a child and have a family, not one.
No, exactly.
And if the one partner does not want the other partner to have a child, then that partner should find somebody else who does want to have a child with that partner. Because that man has an emotional and financial responsibility to that child if it is implanted and born for the rest of his life. And if he doesn't want that responsibility, why should he be forced to have it just because he created an embryo in a laboratory? This is not a human being yet. It's not a human being yet.
But what if it's her that has the problem?
She does have the problem.
She does have the, well, right. If she had the problem, she only had so many eggs, and that's the last chance. Then I think she should be given more consideration.
But that's not true, though. She has plenty of eggs. She has millions of eggs.
How do you know? Have you seen them? You don't know this.
I can see eggs everywhere.
See, it would be real tough being a judge. So we want your opinion. Our audience is going to give us their opinion. I think it's a fascinating story. I really do. And in fact, this goes along with another story that I saw in Missouri. They decided that life begins at conception.
Yes.
Well, now an attorney has a client in prison. She's pregnant. So he is saying that fetus is being held against its will. So if you're going to, yes, it's going to get interesting, folks. It really is.
Fetus.
It is. I don't know.
It's not being held against its will. Come on, that's ridiculous. How many people think a fetus in a mother in jail is being held against its will?
In Missouri, babe, that's what they ruled.
David Sittenfeld's applauding over there.
Well,
I never
David
believe he would
applauds
think
anything.
like
Let me
that.
tell you about the first hour of today's People Talking. You're going to love it. Remember this? Da, 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 da. Did you recognize it?
I need more.
Picture a dog.
Name that tune.
Picture a dog jumping over a fence every Sunday into your living room. Remember Lassie? Well, we have the best mom in the whole world, June Lockhart, and Timmy John Provost with us today. What a family! Yes. They didn't bring Lassie, though.
Boy, there's a woman who defied the odds on working with women and animals, working with children and animals.
Yes, and she did it very well.
Absolutely.
They didn't bring Lassie, though. Lassie was tied up.
I knew that Lassie was kind of a little kinky on the side.
I just tickle myself. Right. Also, we're going to talk, a lot of people want to be a model. They want to get into the modeling career, right? And men and women. Well, they go to agencies and they say, hey, for $5,000, we're going to take your picture, make you a star.
I have it on me.
Actually, and we have people who paid thousands of dollars and got literally nothing for their money. So if you're thinking about modeling for a career, and I just give that up, okay, Belle? Then please watch this show because you'll be surprised what goes on behind those little doors. Right. Yes, absolutely.
And in the second hour, we get into a question which has been in all the newspapers for the last couple of weeks. The question is it art or is it obscene? And should your tax dollars fund works of art that some people think are controversial works of art? It's a Jesse Helms question, something like that. Here we see a man urinating on another guy down there.
Oh.
The National Endowment for the Arts supports thousands of artists each year. Jesse Helms found out that some of the tax dollars, some of your tax dollars were going to things. One thing, for example, a work of art that was a crucifix dropped into the artist's urine.
Oh, my.
Right?
Oh, my.
Or Mapplethorpe's photographs and so forth. So that's what we're going to get into, and that's an interesting question because we're really talking about tax dollars and how we spend them, and at the same time, we're also talking about what constitutes obscenity, and should art be pushing the parameters and the boundaries?
And who should be making those decisions?
You
That's
should.
Even more
I think you should make all the decisions.
I think I should make all the decisions of the world. Just come to me, I'll let you know. Get out. All right, I'm going to make a decision. All right. Did you hear that San Francisco had a real big earthquake, about 5.1 in the Richter scale last night? Yes. Well, we have someone on the phone, very dear, close friend of mine, Randy Barone from KGO TV. That's where I used to work. Randy, are you there?
Hi, Renee.
Hi, Randy. How are you?
Hi, Randy.
Okay.
Oh, are you okay?
Oh, yeah. It was a
good.
shake, rattle, and roll kind of a morning.
So tell me, what time did this happen?
Oh, it was about 1:14 in the morning.
What were you doing?
I was sound asleep.
Oh, that's a shock. Go ahead.
And all of a sudden, for people who don't know what it sounds like when there's an earthquake, it just sounded like there was this huge gust of wind. But obviously, there's a lot more intensity going on inside of the building. And I live in an apartment, and I'm on the third floor, the top floor.
Right.
So it's like being on a ship, so you feel it a lot more.
Yeah.
Was the bed shaking?
Pardon?
Was the bed shaking?
The bed was shaking, yeah. Everything was shaking. You could hear glasses shaking in my cabinets and
Did
that sort of
anything
thing.
break?
And pictures I noticed this morning when I got up had shifted on the wall.
Oh.
And so, yeah, it was a 5.2. And then there was an aftershock about 5 minutes later, just as you were getting yourself calm again so you could go to sleep.
Yeah.
It hit again, but it wasn't quite as intense. It was a 4.2.
So you think this is leading up to the big one, Randy?
Well, it's kind of scary, Renee, because they're saying this morning that the OES has issued a warning for 5 counties in the Bay Area, saying that there's a strong possibility for a much stronger quake in the next 5 days.
How long have I been telling you to come to New York and get out of San Francisco?
Well, I know, but you just got to get me there.
Because we know it's real safe here, Randy. No problem at all here in New York.
Yeah, but you guys just had a tornado there, what was it, about a month ago? Touchdown in Fort Lee?
Yeah.
I mean, what's going on in this world?
You just can't win, can you?
I'm telling you, these disasters are happening all over.
Well, I hope you're careful. Nothing broke or anything. He has wonderful antiques in his house.
Stand underneath the doorway all day, Randy.
News this morning, they were showing video of grocery stores throughout the Bay Area, and a lot of the groceries smashed all over the floor, and there were some landslides along highways with a lot of boulders falling down on highways. So it was a pretty big quake, that's for sure.
Yeah. Now, you're the executive producer of Good Morning Bay Area.
Yes, I am.
So now with this timely topic, are you going to change stuff around, put earthquake stuff on today's show?
Oh, I'm sure we'll be doing quite a bit of it all day long, especially since they're predicting a big one possibly in the next 5 days.
Yeah.
This was a 5.2, and they're saying if another one hits, it'll at least be a 6.2.
Well, please
So I'm
call
thinking about
us.
maybe getting out of town.
Yeah. Call us if something happens.
Hey, do you want my opinion on your soapbox question?
Oh, yeah, Randy, let's go to our soapbox. What's your
Who
opinion?
should have legal custody of the frozen embryos? What do you say, Randy?
Well, my opinion is if that contract is declared null and void, then those sperms and the eggs and also that embryo should be null and void.
So where do the embryos go?
They go away.
They melt.
Go away. All right, so because of their contract being null and void, they become null and void.
Right, exactly.
Ooh, good answer. All right, that's a good one. Hey,
let's
thanks
go
for
first one
calling,
with the right
Randy.
Oh, good talking with you, Renee. Have a good
Kiss
show.
the security guy for me. That was a very good opinion.
Excellent opinion.
Excellent.
To the
Good
soapbox.
morning. What do
Hello,
you
good morning.
feel?
I think that it was a contract. They were married. They're saying they don't want to be married anymore. I don't think that you could force anyone to become a father. And basically, I understand that these embryos are only about 2 or 3 cells, and I think either they should just be left in the deep freeze and
Let me ask you a question. One of the issues in this case is this a, quote, pre-born human? Because it is an embryo, because it is an embryo, not implanted in somebody, because it represents the potential for life more so than just the egg or the sperm, does it require special consideration?
I would say no, because, you know, when you talk about abortion, they have a certain number of weeks, and that's many, many cells. And I understand from what I saw on television that these little embryos are only about 3 or 4 cells. Now, are we going to argue about whether 1 cell is a person? Obviously, it's not. It's not a baby. It's just 1 or 2, 3 cells.
Yeah, all right. Thank you very much for that opinion. Good morning.
Hello.
Well,
What a smile. Wow.
I think that he and she both donated it equally to the embryo. He gave his sperm, she gave her egg. They donated equally. They each gave equal halves, so they should each get half.
Which adds
He
up
can
to
decide
nothing.
what to do with 3, and she can decide what to do with 3.
Oh, let's see. I'll just get
Oh,
that
that's something I
sperm back
hadn't-
out.
No,
There it is.
See, he
That's
gets
right.
half of the
Well, he can
embryo,
leave
she
his-
gets half of the embryo.
If he wants, he can leave his in deep
you knew
freeze,
that.
or in case he decides one day that he wants it. Or he can destroy them if he so chooses, and she can have hers
Well,
implanted
that makes
if she
it,
wants.
once you take half an embryo,
Well, half an embryo can develop.
it's better than a full embryo.
You know what, though, from a woman's point of view, because we're going to get a man's point of view, wouldn't it be kind of difficult to think that you have potential, your potential babies are somewhere? I mean,
would hate
you know,
that.
just
Well-
from a woman's point of view.
Every month a woman can get pregnant, and every month that she doesn't, it's a potential baby, if you want to look at it that way.
Well, that's true, that's true. All right, thank you,
You
for
can't-
straightening me out. That's
I
wonderful.
know.
Let's get a
You know
man's
something?
point. What?
Many a time in my life,
Oh,
at
here
that
we
time
go.
of the, no, seriously, many a time in my life, at that time of the month when the period came, I went, whew, you know, because you
You
know.
did.
Sure, because you
Join
know.
the club.
Hey, let me tell you something. A man must be responsible, and that's why I've always been an advocate for men's responsibility, and a man has also must be able to determine his own destiny. There's somebody on the line right now. What's your opinion on our question about who should have the legal custody of the frozen embryo?
Good morning, caller.
Good morning. I'm calling from Virginia Beach, and I think either the clinic or the doctor ought to have the custody of them. If I were the judge, I could not decide between a mother and a father. And since their contract is null and void, let the man who put them together keep them.
That's something I hadn't...
In his lab. Right. With the liquid nitrogen. All right, thank you. From Virginia
Well,
Beach.
this is going to be in the Missouri case. We'll be watching that. We'll probably be doing more about that on the show.
I hope so.
But not coming up next, because coming up next,
Lassie.
Lassie's mom and little brother, John Provost and June Lockhart, coming up next. Stay with us.